Good morning. So yesterday I went for my bike fit.
You got hench toes. Yeah. Tell me you don't wear underpants at your cycling shorts.
And I've learned that it's definitely a thing you need to do before you buy a bike. Otherwise, your bike doesn't fit.
Now we have our saddle pressure mapping, okay? So what this does, it captures the way you're interacting with the seat.
I realised I filmed the whole video without doing any introduction or any filming afterwards. Probably because I got absolutely drenched on the way there, and you'll see in the video I literally have sleeves of different colours where the rain had hit, and I look like I've wet myself in my bib shorts. A little bit of backstory. I obviously trained for 8 months for my 70.3 on a second-hand Facebook Marketplace bike. If you didn't watch my first vlog, I was getting pain still on this bike. I ended up doing the race on a hire bike and had that fit to me. But my actual bike had never been fit to me because I refused to pay that kind of money when I refused to believe I was going to keep that bike for much longer. Now, I managed to get, in that first video, also a second-hand carbon bike off of Facebook Marketplace again. I have absolutely no idea when it comes to bikes. I don't know what's good. I don't know what I'm looking for. I don't even know what a blooming gear set is. I got told that my 52 frame was too small on my old bike by a bike shop, so I sized up. I then got told in the bike fit that the new bike doesn't really fit, but it was workable with, so it just meant that the frame was quite large, so we had to put the seat right down near the frame and the handlebars right down and things like that. I am obviously doing everything on a budget, so I've come out with a really long list of things that I need to do to this bike, but we separated them into like must, should, could. Must, I will invest in, obviously, and if you want to just know kind of what I ended up learning was, one, I need smaller handlebars because my hands are out here, which is probably why I'm getting loads of shoulder blade knots. My seat was basically, I was having loads of pain weeing after long rides. It doesn't happen every time, and so I put it down to more like dehydration. Because someone said to me, you know, you're probably not drinking enough, and I do not drink enough water, let alone on the bike. So I was like, yeah, that's probably valid. But then when we put the pressure map on, it's kind of like a heat map, but for pressure. Basically, all of my body weight pressure was going through the area where my urethra is. So could have caused myself a lot of pain and a lot of long-term problems if I'd have carried on doing that. I used the map to basically adjust and redistribute, and then I bought a new seat which has the cutout in the middle to provide a little bit of relief in those areas, and it's like made for women. And I think that was the main thing I kind of got out of yesterday, and I try to relate it to dentistry. When we take impressions of a mouth, like when we take a mould, you have stock trays and they're just kind of like a one size fits all, but you have to add like wax and mould to that patient's mouth. You have to add bits on and change bits dependent on the person. So it's exactly the same with a bike. When you buy a bike, it's kind of just like a stock bike and one size fits all. But the majority of the time, it doesn't, firstly. And secondly, it's even worse when you're a woman. They're getting better. They're trying to like incorporate women dimensions into things, but my handlebars need to be far like smaller, which is probably more of a women's trait. I have quite big shoulders still, and I was on like a 42 and I need like a 36, so like it was quite a big jump in. We started off with like an interview, like what I wanted out of it, and then we did kind of a body analysis to work out like my hips, my shoulders, if there's any rotations, like any pains, any injuries, any previous medical conditions and things like that. He gave me some exercises to kind of strengthen, because I found that on one of them, my knee kind of collapses inwards. So I've got some exercises for the gym. So it was a little bit of a physio appointment too. And then we related all of that to the bike and the kit. So we rearranged the cleats on the shoes, and then we got on the bike and we sorted out the seat, like how far forward, back, up, down. The handlebars, same. And then we watched on the video when I'm riding, if my knees are stacked above my ankles and if my hips are stacked above my knees and if everything's in line, because if you've got things going, you know, all over the shop, you're going to get an injury. Also had some pedals that were given to me by the girl. She was like, just leave those ones on there if you want. But they're really, really worn, and we found that that was having a major impact on my seat position, like how much power I was putting through that leg. I was like overcompensating. It just goes to show, like, when your pedals are worn, you need to you need to be replacing them. And then a lot about my kind of posture and relaxing my arms and transitioning between the hoods and the drops. I mean, I didn't even know what the drops and the hoods were before yesterday. And that was the great thing. Like, I feel like I learned so much. To me, so much about the bike, so much about mechanics. And yes, I've got a long list to kind of go away and work through, but the seat was probably the main issue in terms of like pain and discomfort. And then the shoulder blades. So I'm going to go get some handlebars like ASAP Rocky. And I also need to get a bike service. So I need to have like a once over with a mechanic and make sure everything's working and everything's safe. But then after that, I can go through and kind of, you know, do all the aesthetic bits and do all the little bits that maybe aren't like a must right now. And financially, like, I can't afford to do it all in one go. And I think that was a big thing that I learned yesterday. Like, obviously it's hard when you look at a bike that's 15, 20 years old. There's going to be so much better on the market. But I just cannot be spending that kind of money on a bike. Like, triathlon is expensive enough as it is. I'm also a student with a massive student loan. And I just don't have the luxury of, you know, like disposable income coming in. It was about making almost a bike that didn't fit. Because this is still a much better situation than my aluminium one that was supposedly too small, and also wasn't fit to me and was so heavy and really hard to ride and really also old. So we've upgraded. It's still not amazing, but we've definitely upgraded. This video is kind of for all of my bike people that love like a little bit of bike science, for girls who just want to learn some of the basics, because I learned so much yesterday, and also just people who want to be nosy, because I find this stuff really interesting. So Bryan at the Bike the Body near Bristol offered to do the service for me for free, which was really kind, because obviously I was inevitably going to share it with you all anyway. Yeah, it did make me realise I've invested in this a long time ago, especially when I was getting pain. And if I was racing on my bike, there would have been a non-negotiable about it, but where I wasn't, I kind of put it off. However, I should have just bitten the bullet ages ago. And then you get a report, you get measurements. You can then take those measurements to whatever bike you buy. And I've learned that it's definitely a thing you need to do before you buy a bike. Otherwise, your bike doesn't fit. I guess the goal of this video is you can watch what happens. And if you think, oh my God, I'm getting this pain, I'm getting that pain, and you feel like you need it, make spending that amount of money a little bit less scary, because you know what you're going to get, you know that it's thorough, you know that you get measurements going forwards. And especially like with my one with Bryan, I learnt so much, so it was almost like a physio and a teaching session about the bike all in one. But yeah, I will get on into the video.
Start off on a 10 grand bike,
yeah,
and like you're getting into it and all that kind of stuff. You look back in a few years and go, oh yeah, I've already got 10 grand bike. The wheel was falling off, and then like that feeling of getting better brakes for the first time. It was just like, you know what, just like ride a simple bike first. Get into cycling, see if you actually give a shit about like or into cycling before.
Yeah, I think that was my thing. I'm quite chaotic in that I'll do something and then I'll just want to like switch it all up and do something completely different. So I was like, I need to give it a full season of racing, and then if I really like it, then I'll...
Well, exactly, right? Like that's the other way to look at it. As
these cleats are a bit done in, so I did just go buy some more.
Oh, good one.
I don't know if you move these on the shoe, but if you move them, I would rather do ones that will last than these old shitty ones that I've broken.
Bikes, they can be small, medium, large, extra large, but they could be 50, 52, 54, 56, blah, blah, blah. But then the geometry, that's basically the way they're set up. So how long is it or how tall is it? Now, you generally just hear about endurance geometries, like slightly more upright, and race geometries, a bit longer. But it depends how your body's made up. How long are your arms compared to your torso and your legs? How flexible are you? Those things will dictate whether you're going to get on with a certain bike or with another.
You know, even Facebook Marketplace, I couldn't find, other than this one, I couldn't find one for below 800. And I'm like, well, I'm not paying that if I don't know what I'm buying.
like the handlebars, we'll get into all of this and go through all the process. The handlebars are way too wide for you. The cranks are too long for you.
Okay.
This is a common symptom of many bikes, particularly for female riders who generally tend to be of smaller stature. So bikes, I mean, even nowadays they're not quite spec'd adequately. Like you still get you just get stupidly wide bars, stupidly long cranks, and it's just like, yeah, well, they're just being lazy because they're just making bikes for people, basically men is what they do. So like now it's slightly better, but it's still bad. And then a bike like this, like 15, 20 years old, it's like,
worse than,
42. The good thing is, when you've got cheaper stuff on your bike, it costs less to replace it. We'll try to focus on just basically this just being your bike fit. We'll kind of traipse in and out of what that's like. We can chat kind of on the side, but we want to focus on this being your bike fit section.
I was getting pain on my, I like have never had any like big injuries, never any operations.
Good.
And I was getting pain, so it was causing the pain basically. Like it was.
Where were you having pain? What pain
left knee.
Left.
I want to say more towards like here. I have a really bad problem of like knots under my shoulder blades. Every like 2 or 3 weeks I have to go to the like sports massage, and they are huge rocks under mine. And I think I'm very like tense. Maybe I hold a lot of stress in my shoulders like when I'm working.
I mean, any issues with like your hands? Were you getting any tingling, any numbness in your hands, things like that?
When I was doing the bike packing, I'd get like a bit of pain like up here. I think it was a very like bent position. It felt like there was quite a lot of loading, like
pressure on the hands,
and my wrist, but no tingling. Feet, yes.
Go on then.
Used to like honestly like for the entirety of a ride not feel my feet. And I just thought I've got Raynaud's, so I just thought, oh, I'm cold. But then I got new shoes and that kind of stopped. So I think maybe my shoes were a bit.
So you did have you were having a lot of numbness before.
My feet, my toes.
Talk to me about your saddle. Do you get any issues with your saddle? Saddle sores, pressure, tingling, numbness, things like that?
I'd say it's never been comfortable. I don't know how comfortable it can become.
Tell me you don't wear underpants with your cycling shorts just to check, because anyone who just common mistake. It's just not. They're just not. The shorts are designed to be worn next to skin. Pop your socks off as well. Oh yeah, that was the other thing I didn't kind of ask you with your training. The 3 disciplines. So you're doing some regular stretching. Do you do some strength work?
Twice a week.
Yeah, I mean, working on your intrinsic foot muscle strength is great. Just let your feet relax there. So your relaxed stance position there is, both feet are kind of like 2/3 pronated, so pronation being inwards, supination being outwards. But like ultimately, you've got a slightly more prominent navicular, just on this right side. If we look at the actual arch height itself, they're low on both, and quite a long low arch there. You've got quite a bit of splay to the lateral, so you've actually got quite a bit of muscle bulk through the outside of your foot there. You got hench toes. But generally that's the abductive digiti minimi.
That's hilarious.
You've actually got some good gains there.
Do you think that's because I've been doing a lot of this?
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, that is how
I've never noticed that before in my life.
That bicep of your foot. Yeah, so you've got pretty good strength to there. And end up that inside part of your foot a little bit more. So that's something with your foot type there. You can see there's just very late coupling of your windlass mechanism. So don't look for it to change necessarily the shape of your foot or suddenly have an arch, because it's like someone going, oh, if I straighten my hair enough, I'll just end up with straight hair. No, your hair will still be curly tomorrow morning kind of thing, right? So that is your natural foot posture. But if you have good muscle strength to support the function of the position, you're fine, right? Okay, cool. So what we're just looking at here is your degree of pelvic rotation. Okay, that's awesome. So you can get pretty much a kind of horizontal pelvis there. Where do you feel that stretch? Anything in the back? Anything in the hamstrings? Just tension your hamstrings. But again, if you look there, pelvis is completely horizontal, maxed. Okay, so you've got a right rotational scoliosis, so that part of your back is rotated back a little bit. If I exaggerate it, it's back there a little bit. Yes, you can see that right rotation. Pelvis height is pretty level, so again, looking from side to side there, it's pretty level.
If I go wider.
Wide stance, toe out.
Yeah, but if I'm here, something really, like, I can get 90.
Yeah.
But
so that's your hip joint, and it's the shape and orientation of your socket and femoral head and neck. The angle and orientation of your thigh bone here, whether it's rotated inwards or outwards, will change massively again how your hip preferences movement. The socket is higher up through here, you've got more space. So what you've probably got is a little bit of what we call over coverage, which is essentially just through the front of here, your socket is a little bit rotated forward. So the sooner you realise, okay, that's me and my body, how do I move best with my body, the better things get.
I don't know if I can do this.
Engage that powerlifter strength. Back up. Cool, right side. You've got good quads development, you can see that.
Thanks.
Back up there. Okay, great. Just want to look at what way your feet move. Yeah, so your foot capacity to resupinate the arch is good. Okay, hold on and do a single leg. Okay, that's great. And the other leg. Okay, good. Yeah, you can do that pretty well. Bryan.
Cool.
Knee control. And just watching where that knee movement is and where you kind of go to. There you go. As soon as you get the weight over that side,
yeah, it does, doesn't
so that's that hip. And again, that's what I do with it. See that exact? As soon as
Yeah,
your weight is there,
yeah.
the knee just went, rotates in, and your foot just completely then just drops away. And then I want to get you to lie down and let this leg relax. Okay. So that's cool. Leg stays nice and relaxed. So we've not got tension across the front of the hip there. And we can get that right back there without any kind of lift or spring. You should feel like a little bit of stretch, but it doesn't feel too tight.
No, it's fine.
A little bit of spring to it. Like just when we come back there, it just lifts a little bit. So it is a little, yeah. Okay. So it's a little, but the things I'm looking for is when someone lies back, their leg just springs up like that. And you can see like a gap. And then as soon as you try and bend the leg down, it just goes like this. And then you tell me where your sort of limit is. I mean, I know you're going to be kind of 90 plus based on your forward bend. Yep, there we go.
In that same area.
And if we come up and through there, we just feel lots of stiffness. So remember, when you're cycling, you're going at like 80, 90 RPM. It's really quick. And it's a low resistance activity compared to, say, like strength training. So very quickly, if there's a little bit of stiffness or something slowing down the pedal stroke, exactly right. Just think of, I always say, your body when you're cycling, think of it like a river, like think of the stream. As soon as there's a stone, it'll just go around it because it's like the path of least resistance. So if your if your leg's coming up like this and there's like, oh, that's slowing me down, I'll just strip down like that. So can you see that difference there? So what's interesting is you've got a difference in hip socket alignment and anatomy between your two hips, like for sure, right? Because you can see we can just push straight up there. I'm not doing anything, I'm just holding your foot. And like, sure, it's always easier when we kick out that way, but on the other side, we'll go back to the other side. Not massive. That's again the commonality between your two hips is that you have more of an external to internal rotation bias. But we can see there we've just got more of it. And then just pop your left heel.
I feel like I'm at Clark's.
Yeah. So you should.
That's like my favourite.
It's the last time it was done right. It's the last time your foot was measured properly. But if it's a question of we're going to replace some bars, which we almost certainly are, I haven't measured these. I'm pretty sure they're 42. You not in hell.
Yeah.
42 centimeter bars, not in hell. Okay, cool. This is the one that nobody likes. I'm going to get you to basically rest that on your sternum. Right, it has come to that exciting time where we get on the bike and we ride the bike, and we're going to run some video. So just get on, get used to what it feels like. It's weird getting onto a turbo trainer because the bike doesn't lean over. It's here in a cliff, but those pedals are so beat up that it's possible.
It might be.
Yeah, I mean the interface
It's
on these
so
pedals
wobbly,
is
isn't it?
terrible. Yeah,
She said to me, she was like, just keep those pedals, and I mean, I have others, but
like this is awful though. Like you got to
big
tap.
guy,
So what we want to do is we want to get yourself sort of get the legs up spinning, get going, and like I say, find a gear that feels like you're kind of just like steadily ticking along. Just ride kind of where you think you would position yourself on the bike. I know this is all new to you in terms of this bike, so just kind of let yourself sort of settle into where you think you'd be on the bike. Okay, so we're going to do a little fun test called a balance test. So what we're going to do is while you're riding like that, I'm going to get you to pedal, keep pedaling, don't change anything, just keep pedaling, and then what I want you to do is lift your hands away and hold your body position. Okay, so two things to comment on there. Number one, you've got good core and back strength. That's awesome. Number two, in spite of that, the bike is still tipping you off the front. What does it feel like down on the drops? So down here. Okay, I should orient you to all these things. These are the drops. These are the hoods, shifters, controls, whatever. So hoods, shifters, or controls. And then these are the tops. So tops, hoods, drops. I'll just throw this up here. And also throw this over here. I thought we'd talk through what we can see.
my back's quite not flat.
That's okay.
That's okay?
Yeah, we don't necessarily need or want a flat back. We
Okay.
want your back to be in a position where it's relaxed in its own posture. So some people have a more curved back posture naturally, and they will sit more curved on the bike. So it's not about what's right or wrong, it's about kind of finding a natural position for your back. You do tend towards locking the arms out. Again, looking for a little bit of stability, trying to save energy, trying to support yourself. But again, the more you lock your arms out, the more tension you'll tend to build up through your shoulders and through your neck. And we talked about that pain in between your shoulder blades. So up here, that'll be something that you might then feel on those longer rides.
Do you know how silly this is? I didn't know they had different widths of handlebars.
Right?
Yeah.
Here we go. Right, so now we have our saddle pressure mapping. Okay. So what this does, it captures the way you're interacting with the seat. But it's soft tissue pressure at the front. That's what we see here. Suggestion of it being off to the left-hand side. Again, that peak pressure point there. That red line is essentially tracking is an average of your pelvis center of pressure movements. You see that? I'm surprised you don't actually get more additional discomfort there. I know you said you felt pressure there, but that's quite a consistent spot.
Yeah, and if I'm doing that for hours.
Yeah, this is the front and the back of the seat. You can also see the pressure is loaded to the front. That is not the most stable part of the seat. If we just take a look at the seat, you can see that you want to get some support towards the back there. There's no change in pressure through the center of the seat. So where your central soft tissue is, there's no pressure relief. Now, not everyone needs a pressure relief cutter or indeed a channel, but most people will get on better with some kind of pressure reducing something, because ultimately what's in the center of our pelvis is our pudendal nerves and arteries, our genitalia and soft tissue, right? So that stuff is not weight bearing, sort of compliant. Like persistent bladder infections and all sorts of things like that. So it's like, it's not fun to build that much pressure.
I have had pain weeing after long rides before, and I thought that was to do with not drinking enough.
So possible, the more likely is that you're putting so much pressure around your urethra. But now what we have to think about is, well, what can we do?
So if you were saying, thing is, it's just a money thing, isn't it? If you were saying I went and got a second hand, if I was to invest in a bike, how would you say to even do that? Because then it's like
do this,
and
now we know what numbers we're chasing. And then if you start with a good frame that fits you, it's got upgrade potential, and it stays good for you. Like this frame, I think, based on its geometry and sizing, is not worth you spending a lot of money on. I would sadly say. Because otherwise, I could have got if the frame fit you perfectly. I'd be like, do you know what? That's cool. In a couple of years, spend 300 quid and get a whole new group set. The bike will feel amazing, and then gradually get some new wheels for it, and it'll continue to work for you. But at the moment, I wouldn't say that. You just message me and go, I found this bike. Is this suitable? And I'll go, nope, stay away from it. And then I can just almost be like your bike buying concierge.
I don't understand how I did 550 Ks on bikes that were just tired and not fit to me at all, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just goes to show you can, but it's probably not that good quality.
Less than ideal. So you've got one of these seat clamps that basically goes from -5 to 0. And your legs, you've got some support. So because you're further back, your legs now kind of over straightening a little bit.
Less jolting in my knees, when I get to the bottom.
There was a smaller area because you were on the nose of the seat. Now we've got better spread. So we have overall lower pressures. We have it kind of, this is where we kind of want it. Sort of just into those two boxes there. But what we still have a shift to the left. So you're still not quite stable. So we need to have a little think about foot support, satisfying seats. This is Ergon SR women seat, which is awesome. It's inexpensive, it's 90 quid, as opposed to you can get a 200 quid version, but it's just a really good seat. So
say I were to invest, obviously I know this bike frame is not ideal, but say I was to invest money into this, things like seats and stuff, that can be transferred. Yeah.
Absolutely. So you buy this, let's say you buy this seat, you get some new handlebars, and then let's say you find the perfect frame. You want to just buy a frame set. You then take that to a mechanic.
Because I want to train on something that is better than my old, which I think even though this doesn't completely fit, it will fit better than my other
We're
one.
going to make this work loads better. We're going to give you a seat that doesn't put all this pressure on your soft tissue. Right? Well, not necessarily this seat, but it could be this seat. We're going to try this.
And then I won't rush into buying another one.
Then you're going to take your seat, you're going to take your bars, and then you can just have a mechanic put the group set on. So the group set is basically all of the mechanic, like the brakes, the gears, the cassette, all that stuff. That's called the group set. That's like, or the drivetrain is another word for it. So, how many time? 3 o'clock. Okay, we've got an hour. Got a lot to do, but that's fine.
Isn't it crazy, like, how much there is?
Yeah.
From me being tipped forwards, like, it was already way more comfortable, but...
Yeah, because that was a big change, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When you could see what that was causing, you being tipped forward, right? Think of a swan, right? On top of the lake, just gliding across, underneath. It's all going.
Yeah.
But swans also aren't like this.
Yeah.
Right? So you want to be relaxed.
Yeah.
So what you want to be is still, but under control. But this is a way better platform for you. And like I said, you can already feel that. I'd like to get a little bit more interaction back here, so we might just need to adjust the tilt, but we're going to work on the bars for a little bit. Yeah. So there's a possibility that this is still longer than you would feel most comfortable with. There is no shorter stem we can put on this bike. So try it again, that arrow hood, so the hand comes up there and you drop in. And you said you started to feel like a little bit in the hip there. Is that where you were feeling that tightness? This is where you're now starting to see the limitation of that crank length. In our long-term planning will be around a shorter crank. Yeah. Because then your leg won't have to come up as high.
Yeah, it would stop
and it would
here.
just, yeah, exactly. It would just smoothly come over the top.
You need like a jet washer, really.
Well, jet washers kind of kill bikes because it gets into all the seals and bearings. But
so how would you suggest?
I mean, you know, like you can use a hose and stuff, but just like a hose and lots of like degreaser. To the hoods. Okay, just that there. Okay, have a step up. So I'm going to measure all of these sort of elements of the bike, so that this is basically our optimal position, and then I'm going to do my best to build it as close as possible. So,
idea.
Okay, so that is your pedals. Back up.
I hope you all enjoyed the video. It was quite funny actually after the session. I'd been there for 3 hours, so I'd left my house at 10:30 in the morning. It was then 4 p.m. and we looked outside, and just as I was about to leave, it started tipping it down with rain again, and I was like, oh, I've just dried off. But I had to do it so that I'd make my train. And then the train was delayed, so then I was on the platform for like half an hour. Got on that train, got off, next train from London, delayed 40 minutes. So then I'm on that platform, like absolutely shivering. And then I get on that train, there were no bike spaces, so I was like awkwardly like moving my bike every time someone needed to come past. And then I got off at Temple Meads and it started tipping it down literally on cue, but Dom had offered to come pick me up and I was like, no, it would just be quicker if I just ride. But obviously like so many cars, like this taxi kept trying to overtake me and it was really overwhelming, and I literally got to Dom's front door and I was like a shell of a human being, like verge of tears. No, I think I definitely shed a tear. And I just jumped in the shower because I couldn't feel my toes. And I just stood there in the warm shower whilst he cooked me some dinner. Dinner was amazing. It was like rigatoni and sun-dried tomato and meatballs. So yeah, hence why we're doing the intro and outro the following day, because I was not filming. I was not getting a camera out when I was in that kind of state. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was useful. I hope it provides guidance if you need a bike fit. And I hope it taught you something if you were just here for the knowledge. See you later.